June 24, 1965. Dearest Suzie, I apologize for not writing sooner, but if you knew how hard I have been working this week, I know that you would understand. It has been a rough 6 weeks. Last night, I got a chance to finally get to bed early. I went to bed at 6 o'clock and woke up this morning at 7. Remind me to tell you all about the past week when I get home, 92 days. It was too much to put in a letter. We evacuated a whole town, though, and I got mortared. That scared the holy hell out of me. I was getting fuel at the time at a little strip that we work from when all of a sudden mortar rounds started falling all around us. I made my crew chief take the hose out and we took off, hoping we had enough fuel to get to the new marine strip near here to get fuel. When we finally set down on the marine field, I had been flying 13 minutes on my 20-minute warning light. Never a dull moment. I got an invitation to John's wedding. Tell him, when you see him though, that I got it late, so I couldn't make it. How is the vacation? Hope you are enjoying yourself, and I hope that the time is going by real fast for you. Right now, it is for me. The enclosed article is one in our paper about the town that you mentioned in one of your earlier letters. Thank God I was not involved in that one. Well, things are the same as always for me. I'm getting along okay and counting the days. I miss you all very much and love you very much. Say hello to everyone for me. All my love, Bill. Today I would like to talk about oral history, which is a method of gathering and preserving historical information through recorded interviews with people who have personal knowledge of past events. Unlike traditional history, which often relies on official records, documents, or statistical data, oral history centers on the voices and memories of individuals, allowing them to share their experiences, reflections, and emotions in their own words. This approach may offer a richer, more intimate understanding of the past, capturing details of everyday life, community traditions, and personal insights that might otherwise go undocumented. Oral history offers several unique advantages over written history. It captures emotion, voice, and nuance in a way that text often cannot, preserving the tone, cadence, and personality of the storyteller. It also allows historians to access the perspectives of people who may not have had the means or opportunity to record their experiences in writing, particularly members of communities whose voices are often absent from official archives. However, oral history also comes with limitations. Memory can be imperfect, shaped by time or personal bias, which means oral accounts may conflict with documented events or with each other. Additionally, oral histories require careful preservation and interpretation, as they rely heavily on context and the relationship between interviewer and interviewee. Still, when used alongside written records, oral history can deepen and humanize our understanding of the past. The 114th Aviation Company has an oral history book compiled by some of its veterans. It's titled Nights Over the Delta and covers the years 1963 through 1972. It was published in 2002, and the cover states, quote, "This is the story of that long, bloody war in Vietnam's Mekong Delta, told by a small band of daunting young soldiers who saw it all in 9 years of combat out of Vinh Long airfield, south of Saigon." Popi is mentioned only once in the 400-page book. There's a quick quote by Chief Warrant II, Carl Hess, where it is said that in 1964, quote, "It was Bill Lowe's first mission with the Cobras, and he was flying with Cobra Lead and the Hog, 48 2.75-inch rockets and no machine guns. Bill was supposed to fire a given number of rockets. Somehow he jettisoned both rocket pods with the 48 rockets intact. You can imagine the concern about the possibility of these in the wrong hands, so a diligent search was made the next day until the rockets were found and recovered. Needless to say, Bill was reminded of this several times. Sort of like the chaplain who shot 2 holes in the roof of his hooch with his grease gun." What this provides us with is a contradiction between oral and written history. According to Carl Hess, this rocket mishap occurred in 1964. According to Popi's written account, it occurred in 1965. On March 11th, he wrote, "I flew with the platoon leader in the rocket ship. It carries 48 rockets and we call it the Hog." Now, this was the first time I had ever been in the Hog, so I didn't know a thing about rocket systems. So anyway, we are flying along and Captain Molinelli decides to fire a couple of rockets. He pulled the trigger and nothing happened, so he thought he didn't have the system on. There are 3 switches on the console to operate the rocket system. One is to arm them, one is to light them up, and one is to jettison the whole thing in case one of them catches on fire. Guess which switch he hit? You guessed it. He threw the whole set, 48 rockets and $5,000 worth of launchers away. So this morning we had to go out and spend the whole morning recovering them. Of course, they weren't any good and we dumped them in the river, but at least the VC didn't get them. Again, it was certainly not my fault because I didn't even know about the switches, but you can imagine the kidding I had to take today. It's possible that Popi wasn't completely truthful in his retelling of the story to Meemaw in his letter, likely to save himself some embarrassment with his wife, wanting to look like he was competent and in control. But assuming he's telling the truth, this shows us the challenges of an oral history. Mr. Hess not only got the story wrong, and the year it happened, but also Popi's name, referring to him as Bill Lowe. There's also a chance that Popi publicly took the blame among the guys for the mishap for Captain Molinelli because he didn't want his CO to look bad. So Hess really believed it was Popi's fault. Who knows? I bring all this up to point out the fragility of history. Recollections and retellings are accurate to a certain degree, but they may not maintain the same sort of accuracy that we may otherwise want them to. The change in the story, however, may reflect what people want to remember, or what was more interesting to them. Sometimes, fiction is more fun than fact. I want to quickly mention that I adore Popi's joke about his brother John's wedding. Once again, we see an example of the man he was before he got back from Vietnam. He had a funny bone, but we rarely saw it. What a shame. The photo I chose for today shows a group of Vietnamese getting onto a plane. Perhaps they were being evacuated. There are multiple women with children hanging on their backs. I'm Alex Lowy, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie, and receiving messages from the past that my Popi wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.